the Senate agenda is set primarily by the President pro tem, similarly in the House by the Speaker. And today, unfortunately, both those roles are held by the ruling party. And if I went into the Senate, I'm sure I could have an impact. Because I will be viewed as a threat, because I am viewed as a threat, there will be determination that I'm not successful. I believe there will be determination that bills are proposed and stuff that will not see the light of day. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm not sure if that will be good use of my time, given what is the reality. We just got to be real here about the situation we're faced with today. Similarly, that's why I don't make public of the businesses I invest in a great job. In fact, there's been a real life case, I would say to all of you listening, that a suspicion of a business that I'm invested in, and some group of people went and attacked the equipment and the generator room and that kind of stuff, claiming that we were trying to hurt a business I was invested in. And of course, they're hurting people's jobs, and we got partners in there, etc. And so that's what I'm saying. If I went to the Senate, there will be determination because I will do as a threat to make sure that there's the success. The second reason why is also real for me is a fact that politics anywhere in the world requires resources. And if I went into the Senate, I would want to play by the rules. I would want no conflict of interest. I would want to be doing not no sort of business or I do consultancy now because of my experience. As a senator in Liberia, there's a certain code of conduct I would want to follow that will preclude me from doing these things, that will dry up sources of income, legitimate sources of income I have today. And so given the fact that I think progress I will try to make will be fought, combined with the fact that because I want to be a full-time senator and do it the right way, that it will drive some sources of revenue that I need to fund the foundation, to fund this program and that kind of stuff. That combination makes it difficult to try to consider the Senate. So that's why important institution, important role. I want to encourage good people to get into the Senate. That's why I'm encouraging Tawangbe in Nimba. That's why I'm encouraging Ambassador Solontaire in Bong, and will identify candidates in all 15 counties to run. Because I understand the importance of that institution. For those two reasons, it doesn't make sense for me at this point in time.
Tomorrow across our land, for the farmer, the teacher, the youth with a dream, for mothers and fathers striving to be seen, jobs, education, and
yeah, I support dual citizenship. If you look around the world, most countries, or let me say many, because I'm not doing empirical work. I think most, but many, maybe if not most, allow dual citizenship. And let me give you some of the practical reasons why. I think I was talking to a Nigerian friend and colleague. Nigeria has had dual citizenship for over 20 years or more. And he said at the time when the debate came, there was a very practical answer to why it made sense. They said, look, how come we're willing to pay or non-Nigerian expats, in quotes, American or European, whatever, to come and do stuff for us who got the technical expertise, but we're not willing to pay another Nigerian because he or she has a different passport, and not willing to accept them, the Nigerians, their parents were, etc., etc. And from that very practical perspective, that says, dual citizenship makes sense. Citizenship cannot be denied, cannot be taken away once earned. So I do that. But I also agree that we should put some restrictions, and so I think Kenya has done something similar. Ghana, the rules are not the same, but they've said, look, if you want to be president, vice president, you want to be chief justice, there's certain roles. I think you have to have only one passport, because you cannot be in those high policy making roles and have the opportunity to escape bad decisions you make, bad policies you make. You have to be, compelled to live with the consequences of decisions you make on behalf of other people. So if you're in a policy making role and decisions you make affect thousands and millions of people, you can't have an out. Oh, if it doesn't work, I can run away, right? You know that if it doesn't work, I gotta live with the consequences of this. I think that influences the decisions you make. I think we should be careful not to put too many more restrictions on that, because again, at the assistant minister level, that's where the technical work needs to be done. That's where you need the technical expertise. And at that level, I think we should be flexible with this dual citizenship thing. But long answer, I think it makes sense. I think we should do it. I think we look across Africa, most countries in our continent and across the world allow it because they're benefit. Now, there's some reasons why, by the way, to be fair, why many Liberians are not supportive, because they've seen the behaviors, unfortunately, of a few diaspora Liberians who've come home, done bad things, stolen, and they can leave and no consequences, right? I mean, of course, Liberians in Liberia with only one passport still do bad things, there are no consequences either. But the fact that they can leave and walk away, Liberians are reticent, and you can understand that, right? I mean, so we got to be sensitive to both sides of the argument, and not be condescending, and just understand why people are feel the way they do, and try to explain and help them understand the values or the benefit, why it makes sense. Unfortunately, again, not many, but a few diaspora Liberians come and kind of look down on people here, and I say very condescending, and because you've had the blessings of being able to go to a different country and get different set of experiences, it doesn't make you any better. And again, there's very few people that do this, by the way. Most Liberians understand this and that sort of stuff. But those few examples of when that happens, it colors things for everybody. It paints everybody bad, even though the majority of the diaspora Liberians don't do these things. And I want to make that point. But a few do, and it makes it difficult for the others who don't do that. Just for the record, I spend most of my time here at the foundation office, business calls, meeting people, etc., etc. I spend about a day, a week or so at the party office. So I'm not, contrary to popularly driven and in the political stuff every day of my life. But I want to thank you again for those listening in. God bless you and God bless Liberia. Thank you very much.
From the soil of Liberia, a dream was born. Through struggle and hard work, a leader was formed. A son of the land, with a vision so clear, to build a new future for all people here. No tribe, no party, no lines to divide. For Liberia's progress, we stand side by side. Our next coming, hope for Liberia. A voice for the people, a leader sincere. Together we rise, together we stand. Building tomorrow across our land. For the farmer, the teacher, the youth with a dream. For mothers and fathers, striving to be seen. Jobs, education, and opportunity. A nation united in dignity. From Lofa to Maryland, Nimba to Grand Crew, the people are rising with hope that is true. Alex Cummings, hope for Liberia. A brighter tomorrow is drawing near. Hand in hand, we will move ahead. A stronger Liberia is what lies ahead.